Today on AGetc, we start out with Queenie Riva Rojo, the Executive Director of the Ethanol Producers Association of the Philippines. Learn about their recent trip to Kansas and what she hopes her government officials will take with them in regards to ethanol. Next, Steve Seabrook and Matt Splitter talk about their participation in hosting the group. Then, see how nighttime temperatures are stressing the current wheat crop. And we end with tips from Lee Hart on how to properly cinch your saddle. Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
My role in the Philippines is I am the Executive Director of the Ethanol Producers Association of the Philippines, or EPA. So we represent the ethanol producers, local ethanol producers in the Philippines. We advocate for the use of biofuels, specifically bioethanol, E10. And we help the government in crafting guidelines and protocols on how to efficiently implement the law. Because even if there is a law, there has to be implementing rules and regulations for nationwide implementation. And then further down, there has to be administrative guidelines so that the oil companies can comply, because they have to be monitored. So we submit reports, so we liaise with the government agencies. In the Philippines, unlike the US, our lead agency implementing the Biofuels Act is the Department of Energy. Yours here is the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. So that's that's the difference. And we produce today, our capacity, total plant capacity is about 280 million liters. That is just equivalent to one of your plant. That's huge. You have a very huge ethanol group here in the US. And thank you, US Grains Council, because after giving into my wish list, including the Senate, Senator Gatchalian, I still have a slot. And you even gave us one more for my newly hired Deputy Executive Director, Jana Vicente. So grateful, because we really need to educate the government agencies, because you cannot preach to the believer already, right? So you need to preach to the unbeliever. So I'm happy that we are here, because we be able to see the whole picture from the farm to the wheel. Oh, my biggest aha is the Kansas corn, because you see, our capacity is just, the total country's capacity is just equal your one plant. We need 5 billion liters of gasoline, so 10% of that is 500 million liters. And we can supply locally half of it, so we import half from the US. So major learning experience here is to look into the corn, because in my province we have corn. And maybe now that we brought in our senator, he can help us convince the government agencies who advocated for that food versus fuel thing, because in the Philippines you cannot use corn and cereals and grains, food grains, for bioethanol, because of the food versus fuel myth that we found that it's a myth. So now that he has seen it and he saw that there is a byproduct for cows, so there is no issue. Even better feeds, because it's high protein.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm, so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but yet we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we'll be glad to answer and work with you.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Wheat. Learn more at rediscoverwheat.org.
Through the relationships that we have through different organizations, particularly with Kansas Corn, this is the second time our interaction with Greg Christick has led to a contingent. The first contingent that came through here, I think, was in 2015 from Mexico. So this was our second opportunity. And for us, since we're playing in the international markets, it's a wonderful opportunity to give them our story, talk about our businesses and what we touch, and hopefully they see the capability that we have as a long-term supplier for their needs over the long run. I think the message that we were trying to especially get across today is, as ethanol takes hold in the gasoline pool of that specific country, what they're going to find is, as the blenders find that value, there's a decent chance that the consumption of ethanol is going to exceed their local supply. So don't be afraid of imports. Don't be afraid of having to bring it in from a source outside of your country, because there will come a point in time where your domestic production will be able to meet that need. And it may be that your domestic production exceeds the need that you have within your country, and then you're going to be able to be that exporter. That's kind of how it happened in the U.S. over the last 15 or 20 years. And I suspect that most of these countries using it for the first time are going to experience the same thing. But don't be afraid of having that import need. We did it in the 2003 to 2007 timeframe. We were pretty significant importers of ethanol, and now we're an exporter of ethanol as we've built out. So depending on the plants, we have certain plants now that align in certain export lanes. And so without getting too specific of those plants, what we've been really focused on is, A, can we logistically make it a better situation for the destination that it's going to be going to? B, can we make the spec reliable and rateable where they're getting a constant, consistent flow of that certain specification need for whatever country that might be? And then third, economically, can we continue to make that happen on a very regular basis? Those are the key things I would say. What people get hung up on is just looking at the ethanol value versus a straight up gasoline price. And when you look at the economic benefit across all octanes, we have 113 octane, as an example. I think what they will find out is that the economic benefit stretches way beyond just that ethanol versus gasoline price. And by way beyond, now you're moving into dollars of value as opposed to cents of value. Again, from a long-term standpoint, I mean, obviously our hope here in the United States is that we continue to get the benefit into our own fuel supply. What history tells us, again, is as that value is seen at the pump and seen by the consumer, you will see A, domestic growth, and then B, what will happen is your production base, your feedstock needs will grow as well. And as that happens, what it does is it gives you more capability to supply outside of your own domestic needs. We have multiple destinations we go to today. The impact, at least in the farming community here, we are growing more corn on fewer acres today than we did 40 years ago. And the benefit is, because there's value for those feedstocks here domestically, they're growing more of it, and they're growing more of it economically. So that, to me, is the long-term win-win for all these different countries that are looking at it for the first time.
business with Blueville because of the quality of their work. It is excellent quality, and because they make a commitment to their customers.
We enjoy the benefits of hiring a good company to help us maintain this home.
We will always do business with Blueville. We have for many, many years, and there's no reason for us to look for any other service.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways. Of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
This segment brought to you by SureCrop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
Yeah, we're a diverse farm. We grow corn, soybeans, grain, sorghum, and wheat on our operation in central Kansas, Rice, Ellsworth, and a little bit of Reno County. We're a no-till farm. Definitely believe in soil health and making sure that we're producing the best crop we can. We just got done planting our spring crops here. Corn is up. Corn's about 3 or 4 leaf. Soybeans are up and growing, as well as grain, sorghum. We've been in a drought. We've probably got about half to a third of the average rainfall that we've had currently. But considering those situations, we're really excited and enthusiastic about this upcoming growing season. We live farm in close proximity to an ethanol plant. Ethanol in this area has definitely been a price support for our corn and grain sorghum markets. Being able to bring people from other countries, especially on today's trip, having people from India, the Philippines, countries such as that, to our farm and to the ethanol plant definitely shows that we are a full circle area. Putting a face to the product is very important. Being able to understand where their product comes from, being able to understand that we are doing the best job that we can do to raise a quality product for them, showing them that our products that we feel here in central Kansas are some of the best products in the world that they could be buying, knowing that they're getting good value for their dollar that they're spending in the United States economy. We raise the crop, we buy the inputs local, we're farming local, and we're delivering to an ethanol plant that is local as well. But that product, for it coming from central Kansas, is still the highest quality on the world market today. It's hard to put a dollar figure on it for sure, but it definitely has an economic value to us. It has put a price support into the market, into the local market, and into probably a 100-mile radius around this ethanol plant that helps keep prices higher for us. It also is a guaranteed market for a product, whether it be corn or grain sorghum, and usually each year both commodities, that you aren't worried about not having an end market for your product or having to ship your product large distances to a port, to a rail, to the Mississippi River, any place like that. We can drive just a handful of miles to the ethanol plant to deliver our product. Having a handle and a grasp on the world market and truly understanding where our commodities or our products that are made here in our state go is very important to understanding the whole farming picture. If you don't surround yourself with your buyers or educate yourself with who is buying your product, I don't think you're truly grasping exactly what you're providing to the world economy. Yeah, trade is just vital to us as a farmer. We produce, and we've become so good at producing a large quantity of products or large quantity of grain. If we don't have world trade, then we just create a glut that's backed up inside our country. And there's not enough end users just inside our country currently to use all the grain that we produce. So it is just important for us to make sure our grain leaves our country or is used domestically, and then what is surplus leaves the country and gets into the hands of people who can utilize it very efficiently.
Summer is busy at Tarwater Farm and Home. We have just about everything you'll need for your summer projects, and we're consistently competitively priced. Tarwaters can help make your grass and garden grow, and we have a huge variety of equipment to cut it. If you have a farm, Tarwaters has the products and equipment to keep it going strong. And our expanded parking lot will make it even more convenient to shop. So come see us at Tarwater Farm and Home in Topeka.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Buffalo Bill Cody earned his legendary title in Oakley. Bring the family and come celebrate Oakley's pioneering history and unique geography at two sites, the Buffalo Bill Cultural Center and the Fick Fossil Museum. Cody's statue marks his achievements and welcomes visitors to the Cultural Center. The Fick Fossil Museum houses world-class fossils and artifacts. You'll find Oakley at the hub of U.S. Highways 83 and 40 and I-70. Stop for the legend. Stay for the day. Discover Oakley.
I will take action against herbicide-resistant weeds. I will know my weeds, and I will stop them before they go to seed. I will do whatever it takes to give my crops the upper hand, and I will use multiple herbicide sites of action because every action counts. I will take action, this time for all time.
Fort Wallace was the fightingest fort in the West. Fossils, Indians, soldiers, scouts, wagons, trails, pioneers, stories. Discover the story of Fort Wallace and the people who served here, the people who fought here, the people who settled here. Wallace County, where the past is present.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
We all know that the climatic variability is happening quite rapidly. And when this climate is changing, temperature is one of the key factors which is driving most of these changes. But some of the recent analysis have shown that it is a high nighttime temperature, that is the warming night temperature, which is more so important and is significantly predicted to induce negative impacts on crops, leading to yield and quality. As of now, we really don't have a system that can actually capture these responses under the field conditions. So what you see behind me, here is a prototype of something that we have developed where we can actually introduce warmer nighttime temperatures and see how the wheat actually responds and if there is a reduction in an yield or quality losses. So I think if you look at this, Raju, at the top part of that, that's completely dry. Right. At the lower part, it's still a little bit green, right? Yeah. So if you are going to take some measurements, you might still get something at the bottom. The overall bigger aim of this project is to build much bigger tents of this kind to actually introduce much greater genetic diversity and also bring in the genetic components for the breeders to be able to have markers to develop our wheat, which is more resilient to high night temperatures into the future.
Yeah, I think this is a really important project because as we look forward in breeding, it's 10 to 12 years from the time we make a cross till we release something, and as we start to deal with these additional stresses, it's really important to have the tools to do that. So this project really sets the stage for us to evaluate materials, understand the genetics behind heat tolerance, and then look at new genetics as it comes along for its ability to handle these higher temperatures. And so I see this as critical information that feeds into breeding as it helps all of the breeders, whether it's the K-State program or private programs or programs around the world, really understand heat tolerance and how to deploy it.
The whole idea is to introduce warmer nighttime temperatures after flowering, which is basically what happens in Kansas, where there is more warming happening during the grain filling phases. This has been going on for about 3 weeks now. So we intend to have this sort of a stress introduced onto the crop for about 4 weeks, and after that the stress will be taken off, and then you actually start to see the impact. In the process of doing all this, we have taken a lot of physiological measurements, and a lot of spikes on the leaf samples have been taken. All these samples were taken at 4 o'clock in the morning when it was pitch dark. So all this will undergo molecular analysis to be able to come out with some markers that can be utilized for improving our wheat.
The new Better Horses Network is worldwide, presented by Lucas Oil, featuring worldwide radio and TV with iconic hosts like Al Dunning, Sharon Camarillo, Ernie Rodina, Lindy Birch, and Craig Cameron. With American Cowboy, Horse and Rider, Brushy Creek, Cavenders, and Ride TV. Worldwide radio and TV, the all-new Better Horses Network.
Heinen Brothers, a fourth-generation Northeast Kansas farm family, knows how tough farming can be. Farmers helping farmers. Heinen Brothers Ag, selling and servicing crop protection products, fertilizer, anhydrous ammonia, cover crops, quality aerial and ground application. Call today to learn about our extended term financing program, 800-760-4964. HeinenBrothersAg.com.
I was in an accident where I fell off a roof. I took the conventional route by using medicine, and I went to see numerous doctors. I found that it really wasn't working as well as I had hoped it would. I don't know why I started to research stem cells, but I did. And I visited with the doctors. They were excellent. I had my neck done, I had my shoulders done, I had a section of my back done, my hips, my sacrum, my sciatica, and my tailbone. But it wasn't really that painful. I was surprised at how easily it was done. It took me approximately 4 hours from the beginning to the end. Now I am having better range of motion in my arms and my neck and my back. So it's been very beneficial to me, and I want to thank Kansas Regenerative Medical Center. It was a long road to get there, but I'm so glad that I found them.
Hi, I'm Kim Mandring with Hardy Insurance. I'm here to help you with all of your farm and ranch needs. When it comes to protecting your operation and your family, you need a name you can trust at a price you can afford. Call me today or visit hardyaviationins.com.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
When I go to cinch a horse up, I want to do a 3-step cinching process. So I'm going to drop the cinches down over here, and we'll start to pull everything up. I've literally saddled thousands of horses in my lifetime, but I am not so confident that I won't do this method on each horse. And the reason why, every horse is different, like we were talking about in the saddle fit portion of this episode. So I'm going to bring that cinch to where it's just snug, not really tight yet. So and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to step this horse forward. I'm going to bend him around, push his hip around. I'm going to step him forward again. I'm going to bend him around again and push that hip around. Now what you should have noticed, and what will happen, is by doing that, not having this saddle plumb cinched down on this horse, that saddle would have found that spot that it naturally fit on that horse's back. Instead of me just throwing that saddle up there and yanking it in wherever it was setting, I allowed the saddle to find the groove that it should have fit in on this horse. And then at that stage, I'll go ahead and cinch up a little bit. I'd walk him around for just a second, and then I would cinch him one more time. So remember, allow your saddle to find where it naturally fits on the horse's back.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.